I think for me, having recently just lost my mom, it's made me reevaluate. I think about the future, about what the new landscape looks like after lockdown, the new normal. What does that mean? So it's I suppose I just think about life, and it sounds quite holistic. I think about life in general. What's the meaning of life? It's quite a broad question and a broad answer, I suppose. A focus. Mindset is your. I think about two words: negative, positive. So for me, a mindset is a positive outlook. It's a solution focused perspective, and it means it's your focus on life. I'm quite passionate at the moment about my community, and my mindset at the moment is positive, bright. I have a fighting spirit, and I suppose whenever times get tough, I tend to kind of configure myself and try to what's the word? Mobilize myself and the positive energy around me to try and turn a negative into a positive. So the current, in a state of crisis, I suppose it might be to do with how I grew up or my experiences in life. Whenever I'm faced in a crisis, my natural reaction to that is a mobilization, a positive mobilization to overcome that crisis. So my mindset at the moment is very focused, very driven. I was born and bred in Leicester, and with what's going on currently, I'm very, very focused on trying to overcome that negativity and turn something that's negative into a positive. Wow, huge. I don't believe anyone can come out of the current lockdown without having changed in some way, shape, or form. For me personally, it's been a massive personal growth, especially since a year ago when we last spoke. It's a little bit over a year. That journey from then to here has been huge, not just because of lockdown, because I lost my mom. So there was a whole set of emotions that I had to deal with while still having a position within the community where people were dependent upon me. I was supporting quite a few individuals and families that were very dependent on me. At the same time, I was going through a personal crisis myself, and bereavement at any time is difficult. But during lockdown, to lose somebody and it's the simplest little things, like, it's forced me to really look at my life, to look at life in general, the important things in life, meeting people for the first time after losing my mom, the smallest of things, people aren't able to hug me, what my mom's life meant, what's her legacy, the silent battles that she fought. What have I learned from her life? How do I then carry that forward? How my childhood has impacted on me and the person that I've become is such a journey that I've traveled, and I've had to really go deeper and deeper. And every time I've gone deeper, I've learned a new truth about myself. So I feel like it's been a journey of self-discovery, and I'm only just starting to really discover who I am and my strength. We talked about strength a year ago, but I feel like I only just tapped on that. And the more I journey through life, the further that I am able to tap into my strength, and utilize the battles that my mum, have fought to forward society, community, to make an impact, to have an influence. And if that journey, I feel my experiences are supporting and helping in the current crisis, it's helping me discover myself whilst it's helping others as well. So massively learnt huge lessons. I've not come out the same person. I'm not the same person going into lockdown, as you know, we still don't know what, you know, when the end is, but I know for a fact that my life will never be the same again. I think people are struggling, and that's why you know, my natural, you see, people use their grief. Grief is such a holistic term, and it's a subject matter all on its own. I use my grief in a positive way, and through the work that I do to help others, and I feel a connection to wider community and the struggle that people are having at home. People are worried, they're anxious. There was already mental health issues prior to lockdown, and during lockdown, I think people are very anxious, they're uncertain, they don't know, nothing's the same. Everything they knew about life has suddenly changed. This is most people. I believe that even where people are saying they're okay, I generally don't think anybody, I don't care whether you're CEO of a huge corporation or you're, whoever you are, our lives have been impacted, and we're all feeling anxious and uncertain and worried about the future. So I think there's just a lot of worried people out there, and we just need to all try and work together, trying to figure out what the new landscape looks like. More so. I've during lockdown, we did not stop. We continued doing our sessions and keeping our classes going. And it was only the period where I had to stop because my mum, obviously, because I was losing my mum and I had a week off. But keeping that some kind of routine and normality, for one, was really important for the mind. So to help people with their with their mental health, but keeping active was even more important during lockdown, because people were all of a sudden finding themselves cooped up. So the levels of activity naturally dropped, because the natural activity that you have going to and from work and just general hustle and bustle of life had suddenly been just stripped away. So health and well-being is massive, and then I keep saying that the reasons that we need to keep active before lockdown, things like heart disease, diabetes, cancer, to name but a few of the conditions that are linked to lifestyle, they still exist, and they're going to exist after lockdown. And all of these illnesses are lifestyle born. I'm not saying they're completely lifestyle born, but lifestyle has a huge impact, or is a big link to these diseases, and they also cause a huge pressure on the NHS, even more so than coronavirus. So I'm very, I'm kind of more proactive. My approach is always proactive, and I feel like as a society, we've become very reactive, and this is something that going forward we have to change about ourselves. So when it comes to health and well-being, I'm more passionate about it now than I ever was before, because it's about preventing the next crisis. It's about alleviating that pressure on the NHS. It's about a better future for our children. It's about setting that example. It's about looking after ourselves. There's a saying that says, put your oxygen mask on before you help others. And the only way that we as a community are going to be able to make a positive impact on the wider community, if we are looking after our own mental and physical health. So if anything, it should be on everybody's radar. It should be on the top of everybody's priority list. you know, there's a video by Steve Jobs, isn't it? His name is, sorry, I've forgotten his name for a second. My mind's gone. The former CEO of Apple, you know, before he passed away, you know, all the money in the world, you know, didn't take away from the impact of, you know, he couldn't do anything for him when it came to his health. And, you know, he said himself, you know, the time you spend with your family, the investment you make in your own health, it's just priceless. So if anything, I'm even more passionate about it now than I ever was before. Well, my classes carry on, so we are even putting on more sessions now than before, so to fit in with the new kind of norm, if so people can drop in around their schedules, around the family. So obviously by delivering those sessions, that's helping my physical health. To be honest, it's not, the lockdown hasn't made a lot of change for me as far as my diet is concerned, because I've always supported shop local, I've always shopped locally, and I've always been in the habit, because of my lifestyle, of planning my meals. So in terms of my nutritional needs, I was already kind of focused on that prior to lockdown, and really nothing's changed there. So I'm making sure that I continue that. And luckily, I've not had to make too many adjustments due to, you know, not being able to find products and the availability of products. Luckily, because I've always shopped local, it's not made much of a difference to me there. In terms of mental health, because I do live by myself most of the time. Obviously I live with my daughter, but we have we're like passing ships in the wind. So in terms of making sure that I stay connected, obviously do the sessions, but we've also started doing Zoom sessions, so connecting with friends a little bit more via Zoom. We're doing chat sessions for ZFit, so just trying to, you know, make sure that we're all connecting and having somewhere where to kind of make up for the lack of social life, I suppose. So doing that. Obviously, having lost my mum, that is a process. I don't, you know, that is a process, a journey that I'm going through. But I try to share, you know, share with people. I think talking helps. I did a memorial for Mum soon after she passed away, and that's really helping me as well. So I feel like continuing to talk and reach out and help others, I think helping others helps me in a strange kind of way, and that's really keeping me going. And yeah, to be honest, I'm busier now than I've ever been, so I'm keeping really, really busy, and I suppose that's a good thing right now. Whew. Uh, Mum, Mum, to be honest, and my faith. And the community in that order. Well, faith first, and Mom and community. My last moments with Mom were so strong and powerful. I really feel like it's just given me a newborn strength. You know, I was with her right till the end. We had such a beautiful last couple of weeks, and I owe that all to Loros, and I've made a video on that. Had she not gone in the way that she'd gone, probably would be a different story right now, and I probably would have struggled. But she gave me so much strength in those last couple of days. And it's really given me that newborn strength to continue doing what I'm doing within the community. My faith, you know, that's always been the kind of backbone and the foundation of my strength, and that's where my strength comes from. It is from my faith. I draw a huge amount of strength from faith, and that's what kept me going through the whole period when my mum, you know, in those last few weeks when we knew Mum wasn't going to be around for too much longer. It was my faith that got me there, and you know, that's where I draw my strength from. I don't know what kind of answer you're expecting on that one. So let me have a little think. Yes, they are connected. It's about my journey and how I'm feeling, and strength and resilience. You know, they are. It's all about strength and resilience, and in the current climate and what we're going through, a strong mindset is what's going to get you through it. Yes, yeah, it has. It can't not. It can't not. I haven't done the research, but I'd love to be part of a project that does research about, people's activity levels prior to COVID and how it's changed during COVID. Um, a lot of people were so used to going to the gym, playing football, playing contact sports. I myself was just getting ready for taking part in a boxing match for charity, and all of a sudden that just completely stopped. And people were struggling to find motivation. They're struggling to find motivation and how to stay active during lockdown, and that's where I've kind of come in and tried to encourage people to find different ways of staying active and to bring the focus back. But yeah, the focus has changed. People are, I think people are finding mental health is now, a big issue, and it's becoming a bigger issue. And post lockdown, it will be, um, especially with children being at home and not having that social, learning the vital social skills they're missing out on being at school. We have to look at kind of more inventive ways to support them. So it's about the connection of mental and physical health and bringing it together. That's what I've been trying to do with our projects and working with different organisations. And hopefully post lockdown, we'll be able to work a lot closer with different organisations to try and kind of come up with a new norm and bring that focus and look and what the new norm looks like, and be adaptable and flexible to change, because I do feel what this has taught us is how quickly things can change. So we need to be adaptable and flexible and still be able to adapt our way of life around that change. I think what lockdown has taught me, and something you touched, I suppose you touched on it earlier, talking about, where's the link in all of your questions, is I believe that there's been a real reluctance, or probably a stigma, or people shy away from talking about their feelings and emotions. All of these buzzwords are things that people have shied away from in the past. And I think during lockdown, it's emerged that that's created a society of people who've become really isolated and unable to kind of express themselves. And when they've not been able to go out and kind of either through exercise, social life, or wherever way people found to express their feelings before, they weren't able to do that. And that's where they've struggled most. It's about internalizing their feelings. And for me, that's been the biggest learning curve, about how we should now, going forward, find an open and safe space to be able to talk about, express feelings without people judging you and without caring about what other people think, so that we are a healthier, more proactive and positive human race, I suppose, so that we can positively take on the challenges that are going out there in the community and help the more vulnerable, people who are vulnerable through whatever reason, the elderly, because I found that a lot of us might be physically strong, but we were unable to mobilize as quickly because we weren't able to kind of it took us quite a while, took a lot of people a long while to be able to change their mindset, and then by then it was, and I know myself, in the community that I'm working in, that was the biggest struggle, that we weren't on there quickly enough, because we weren't looking at all these things prior. And I feel the reason that I was very quick on the mark, and I was involved in so many different projects. I was involved in probably 5 different frontline projects all at once. And the reason I was able to mobilize so quickly is because I'd done the groundwork prior to lockdown, because of the work that I'd been doing, and the journey that I'd been on personally. And I think that this has put that focus back on ourselves as individuals, that we really need to do that work on ourselves so that we are strong internally. So when the time, if this ever happened again, we've got a stronger community to be able to mobilise and to support the most vulnerable and the ones that can't support themselves.